Arsenal defeat Leeds 4-0 away from home in the Premier League to end our 3-game winless run in this competition that we had. And that is a very, very good result. 4-0 away from home, especially with the form that we're in, the form that Leeds are in as well. I think that they're unbeaten since November at home, which is a pretty good record considering that we're able to go there with that record and dispatch of them as easy as we did. It's pretty impressive. Let's get into the performance. There are a lot of positives, but there are a few negatives as well. And I'm not gonna moan. In my match reaction, I made obviously on TikTok I post instant reactions. I feel like I was a bit too harsh, so I've thought about the game back, and overall, it was a good display. Obviously, when you win 4-0, it's always going to be a good display. But as I said, there were some negatives, but let's get into it. The first half was a little bit frustrating at times. I mean, we were in complete control of the game at all times. Leeds never threatened at all, really. I mean, as you can see, they only had one pot shot from outside the box that went over the bar, and that was quite early in the game. We had the ball the whole time. We basically played it entirely in their half. I don't think you can check field tilt on FontMob, but it would be a massive disparity in our way in that first half. But I guess the frustration kind of came, as you can see here, we didn't really do anything with the ball. We had the ball, we were hoofing it in. We had as you can see, we had 7 corners. So we had a lot of set piece opportunities, but weren't really able to create anything big. And then the goal, I mean, it was a second phase corner goal. The ball goes back out to Noni Madueke, who whips it in, and it's a great header from Zubamendi to put us up 1-0. Should the keeper maybe save it? I do have questions on this goalkeeper. I probably think he could have done well with... the goalkeeper should have done better with 3 out of the 4 goals. And that's why, I'm not going to go too overboard with this result, because at the end of the day, 3 of our 4 goals probably shouldn't have been goals. The first one, I mean, any keeper can concede that. It wasn't a massive howler from the goalkeeper, but it's a good goal from Zubamendi, and it's a goal that we needed, because if there was any period of the game where I was feeling a bit uneasy, it was the first half at 0-0. It was the first half an hour of the game at 0-0 when we weren't really creating anything, and I was thinking, is it just going to be the same thing from Arsenal? We pin a team back the whole game and we just can't get a breakthrough. Or maybe not the whole game, maybe the entire first half, and then if it's still 0-0, the other team comes out for more. But we got the first goal, and then the second goal was not long after. 10 minutes later, a shocker from Darlow, who had an absolute nightmare of a game. Madueke whips the ball in. At first I thought that he had just put it straight in the net, but the goalkeeper does get a glove to it and just punches it in the back of the net. Really not good. But I mean, I think I'll take this opportunity to just talk about how fucking good Arsenal are from set pieces. We're actually unbelievable from set pieces, and I know that people that, rival fans like to use it as a way to, to hate on us and to say that we're, not that good a team because all our goals come from set pieces. And look, you don't want to be over-reliant on it. I think at times this season, Arsenal have shown that they're too over-reliant on set pieces. I mean, that goal from Jesus, I'm trying to remember, when was the last time we scored a proper open play? Well, not from Jesus, the Gyökeres one, I guess, as well. The goal from Gyökeres, I was trying to remember, when was the last time we scored a proper open play goal that wasn't an own goal in the league? I was actually trying to remember. What was the game before Liverpool? Did we in that game? I can't even remember what game it was, if I'm being honest. But yeah, look, it's a massive weapon. It's a huge asset. As I said, people like to talk shit about set piece FC, and as I said, it's not good to be over reliant on set pieces. But in a game like this, where they're sat in a low block, you pin them back. you're struggling to break them open, set pieces are a good way to do it. You know, if you've got that weapon in your locker, there's always a chance that you can score, especially when you come up against a team like this that's weak from set pieces. Obviously, those big physical teams, like we saw it with Sunderland, like Nottingham Forest, you're going to struggle to break them open with a corner. But I think today, you know, we went with a more physical lineup. You know, Havertz as the 10. We kind of went with that front two, although Havertz wasn't really playing as a striker. He was kind of playing as a second striker /10. Went with more of a physical lineup. We didn't go for that more nimble midfielder. And for a team like Leeds, where you know, against a lot of teams, they're going to show that they're quite physically good. But if you just overwhelm them, you can definitely get at them, and that lineup showed it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good locker to have, a good thing to have in your locker, I should say. And I mean, yeah, as long as the open play football gets better, I don't see why us scoring a record number of goals from set pieces is a big issue. And it's not even just the goals scored. We're the best set piece team I've ever seen, and it's not just the amount of goals that we're scoring, it's the amount of opportunities that we're creating. You know, even when we score one goal from a corner, we probably should have scored 3 or 4 with some of the chances that we get. You know, our defenders are not very good finishers because they're defenders. They miss a lot of chances created from corners. Second half, I thought we were a lot better. I thought the first sort of 20 minutes of the second half, 15, 20 minutes, it wasn't great. We were actually pinned back quite a bit. Or not really pinned back. We weren't able to get the ball off Leeds for a huge chunk of that second half. You know, Gyökeres had a blocked effort in the 51st minute. We didn't actually get like a proper open play effort until the goal, which was 25 minutes into the second half. So Leeds did have a lot of possession, but again, they didn't do anything with it. They did absolutely nothing with it. And this is where I'm going to give Arsenal some praise that I wasn't really acknowledging when I did my initial match reaction. I was kind of just looking at the football and how, you know, Leeds are a newly promoted side and that, you know, we should be creating more chances from open play, especially in that first half. We shouldn't be giving them as much of the ball in the second half as we were. But we didn't concede any opportunities. And when you win 4-0 without conceding a chance, you can't really complain about that. So I think that considering some of the performances I've seen from Arsenal, and look, I hate for years, people have had the whole narrative that Arsenal are... Oh, shit. I've dropped something on my screen. Oh, fucking hell, man. My bad. There's been this sort of narrative that Arsenal are, you know, weak mentally and they're bottlers and all this shit. And in recent years, I've challenged that. I don't actually think that this team is mentally weak. I think that don't get me wrong, we haven't been good enough. We should be winning these league, we should have won at least one league title. But I don't think it's because of mental weakness. I don't think it's because of pressure. I don't think it's because of that. But then over the last few weeks, I was starting to feel that maybe that was right. You know, how rattled we looked against Liverpool. That performance against Man United where we just weren't completing our passes. We were so sloppy against Nottingham Forest as well. I thought maybe the pressure is getting to Arsenal. And I think for this game, to go away from home to a team that's as good as Leeds and dispatch them 4-0 without conceding any opportunities, we weren't looking nearly as sloppy as we were in the last few games. It was just a professional performance. And that is one thing that I've wanted Arsenal to do. Just win a game easily. You know, despite the fact that Leeds are so good, this is one of the easiest wins we'll get of the season. Not in terms of the opposition we were coming up against, but in the terms of like the way we made it look. We didn't get out of second gear once in that game. We didn't. And look, the football got better in the second half. You know, we created some chances. There was a Jesus header from a timber cross that he probably should have done better with. The Jesus goal was nice. Gyökeres, you know, it was a nice bit of play. Ødegaard sends it up to Martinelli. It was a good pass. In a game that we've created 6 big chances, you can't really complain. And despite the fact that there are 5 big chances missed, I actually thought it was a pretty clinical performance. I really did. I thought that Arsenal were actually disposing of their opportunities, even though 5 big chances missed. Well, 6 big chances, 4 goals. Like, you can't really complain. And that's about it in terms of the performance. As I said, there were some negatives. We still weren't playing free-flowing attacking football, but in a game like this, when you're 2-0 up at half-time, you don't really need to absolutely destroy a team to go high-intensity football, high-tempo football. You don't really have to do that in this kind of game, and it's good to beat a team this comfortably. But yeah, that's about it. Let's get to the player ratings, because I do have quite some interesting thoughts. I've got, as always, I've got the starting 11 here. I've got the subs here. Only 4 subs in this game. We had 5 against Man United. So I'm with Raya. I'll give Raya 7. Had nothing to do, but made a save. Kept a clean sheet. I thought his distribution was okay. I mean, he never really had the ball because we were pressing we had them pinned back so high in the first half, and then when we had the ball in the second half, we were in their half pretty much the whole time. So Ray didn't really get much of the ball, but when he did all right with it. Didn't concede a goal. 7. We've had so many of these rare performances where I just give him a 7 just because it was good. But he didn't have to do anything. Timber, I'll give Timber a 7. The ratings will be a bit inflated because we won 4-0. But I'll give Timber a 7. I didn't think Timber was outrageous, but it was pretty much just the bang average, the bog standard Timber performance. He doesn't. No one even looks remotely a threat with him on that right hand side, and then he didn't offer a whole lot offensively. He had a couple of decent crosses. But yeah, I think one thing I did like is that he spent more time on the outside, which allowed Madueke to get more time in the box. I hate how we play Timber as this almost as an inverted winger, where he just fucking stays in the box and plays a second striker half the time. Like that it's just cringy. Saliba, I'll give Saliba a 7 as well. Pretty similar to Timber. I mean, didn't really have much to do. Looked decent on the ball. There was one moment that frustrated me where he does really, really well to get past 3 players, drives through the middle of the pitch, and then he just loses the ball. And it's release the ball a little bit sooner. But I love it when Saliba makes those forward runs. So nothing really else to complain. Gabriel, I'm going to give an 8. Solely, and I don't even think Gabriel was much better than Saliba. I didn't think that there were things that put Saliba below Gabriel. I just think I noticed Gabriel more. Those lofted balls into the box, the only way Leeds are able to create anything close to an opportunity at goal. Gabriel was always there to just head them away. I feel like I just noticed him doing things more. Which, I mean, as a centre-back, it's good when you don't get noticed because you haven't done anything wrong. And as a centre-back, that's just your job. Make sure that you don't concede. And they both got their clean sheet. And Capier, I'm going to give a 6. The only reason he's a bit lower is because I still think on the ball he lacks a lot of quality. I really do. I actually think that he's quite a big step down from Calafiori in terms of quality on the ball. And I think that if you're going to play a centre-back in such a high role of the pitch, which I don't like, but whatever, he at least needs to be able to, he at least has to have a good first touch. He at least has to be decent on the ball, half decent close control, be able to, he needs to be quick-footed and be able to link up the play well. I just think him and Trossard had absolutely no relationship going forward. But, solid defensively, I'll give him a 6, whatever. Zubimendi, I will give an 8. I thought he was the best, well, not 87. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. Not by far, but I definitely thought he was man of the match. He got his goal, which is sort of a bonus, but overall, he was keeping the ball. And I've said this about Zubimendi. In these kinds of games, in these games against these mid-table to, relegation level clubs, in these kinds of games, Zubimendi is such a good player to have because he's looking forward. He can actually split the lines decently. I think he's better at that than Partey in terms of breaking down low blocks. But it's some of these bigger games where I notice that it kind of gets to him. But, I mean, he was absolutely unreal today. Quality. Rice, I'll give Rice a 7. I didn't think Rice was great. I think it was a below standard Rice performance. But, I mean, he's Declan Rice. Like he's one of the best players in the Premier League. So yeah, he'll get a 7. Havertz, is 6 a bit harsh? Is 6 a bit harsh? I didn't think Havertz really did anything wrong, but he just wasn't really that influential. Nowhere near as good as he was against Almaty. I feel like he wasn't finding Gyökeres the same way he was against Almaty. And I mean, against a low block, it kind of works. I think it was good having him as like a more physical presence that Ødegaard or Eze don't really give you. And in a game against a team like Leeds that are going to try and outmuscle, you could always use someone with a bit more of a frame in this kind of game. So I understand why he played, but it didn't do anything wrong, but didn't really have too much of an impact. Noni Madueke, I'll give an 8. That's one of his best games in an Arsenal shirt. Got the assist, created the second goal as well. I absolutely slaughtered him for his performance against Man United. I don't think I did in the match reaction, but I did. I did when I was talking to people right after the game. In the match reaction, I was sick of talking to him. I just gave him a 1. But he played very, very well. I was gutted when I found out Saka got injured in the warm-up, especially because of his replacement. But I got to hold my hands up. He did well. Finally got some output in the Premier League. Finally actually had a little bit of end product. Still some moments where, especially in the first half, I didn't think... The thing is, it's weird. In the first half, early in the game, I thought he struggled. And then after the first goal, I thought he got into a rhythm a little bit. Which is actually... It's usually the opposite about him. Usually, he has like a 20-minute spell at the start of the game where he looks incredible. And then goes out of the game. Whereas I actually thought he built his way into the game the later it went on. But I understood taking him off. I mean, he's run his ass off. Just give Martinelli some time on that right-hand side. I just think it's hilarious that we loan out Nonieri and then we're back to Martinelli right-wing shifts. It's just... Which, I'll talk about him. Trossard... I'd say Trossard was probably the least influential player on that pitch. I'd probably give him a 5. Least influential in the sense of, well, he didn't really do anything. I don't think he was particularly bad when he did get the ball, but he just didn't really make anything happen. I'm scared to say I think the purple patch is done. I'll be real. I thought he was our worst player last season in terms of actual guys that were consistent squad players. And then he had a good start to this season, especially at around that Christmas period, but he's dropped off massively. He really has. I think that's 12 games without a goal from him. And, I mean, this is the Trossard that we're used to seeing whenever he starts, most of the time. He's not... This is why I wanted him sold, but I'm not gonna absolutely slaughter him. He's had a decent season. Gyökeres... 50. I'm a bit mixed on Gyökeres because I thought in the first half he was absolutely awful. That pass where, the 1-2 that he did with Hincapié on the throw-in where Hincapié gives him the ball and then he just boots it out of play. That was so bad. And then he had a miss as well that frustrated me a lot. The Trossard, well, not a miss, sorry. I think Trossard played a first-time ball over the top, which is supposed to be his bread and butter. It's what I'm hearing from all the top gooners is that if Arsenal play to his strengths, give him those kinds of opportunities, that's when he's gonna bag. And he's so slow. His first touch isn't great, and then he just is so slow that the defender just catches up to him and tackles him. And it's happened a few times where he should be at least getting a shot off, and he can't even do that. And then guys will look at the stats and say, oh, he didn't have that many shots, and they'll say that he doesn't get service. That is the service. Those are the chances. You have to at least get a shot off. But I thought his hold-up play was decent. I actually thought that when he got the ball, he wasn't really losing it at the level that he has in previous games. And then he got his goal. Pretty fortunate to go in the back of the net. I'm happy for him that he got his goal. He's now our official top scorer in the Premier League outright. Own goal was level with him and Trossard, which is insane. But yeah, I will give Gyökeres a... I'll be kind. I'll give him a 7 because he got the goal. But that's about as high as you're getting, my friend. Subs. We have to talk about this man. Oh, okay. He's done it again. He's done it again. Our most consistent attacker. Brace against Wolves to grab us, to snatch us 3 points in a game we didn't deserve it. Scored against Crystal Palace, which was needed in the Carabao Cup to send us through to the semi-finals. What else? Scored against Brighton, which ended up winning us the game. I mean, this guy is just showing up week in, week out. No. Too far. Calafiori. Seven. I thought he was much better than Nkapie, I'll be real. Odegaard, please can you play like that when you start? Like in that, what, how many minutes did he play? Did he play, what, like 20, 30 minutes? In that, like, 25 minutes, I think, that you played, he's done more than he's done over the past 4 games in all competitions. Decent assist, but he was actually passing the ball forward with intent. He was actually looking to create chances. Odegaard is a quality footballer. I've said this so many times. He has the fundamentals of being an elite attacker or an elite midfielder, in the elite attacking midfielder in world football. But it's up here, bro. It's up here. You don't impose yourself on games, and I want more of this. He wasn't even brilliant. Like, it wasn't an outstanding performance, but I want you to actually do that more. Martinelli, I'll give an 8. I thought he was sick. I thought Martinelli was sick. And I don't like Martinelli on that right-hand side, but he looked a constant threat. I think Martinelli is the perfect player to bring on when you're leading a game late. If you're ahead and it's late in a game and this guy's actually going to get space in behind because the team is going to attack you, although Leeds never really attacked us. This is the perfect guy to bring on because he's got pace. He can just spring in behind. He's a good finisher, and that was a sick cross. That was a very, very good cross. I think Gyökeres is probably the 3rd most important player in that goal. No, 4th, because it's Odegaard playing the ball, it's Martinelli sending in the cross, and it's the goalkeeper palming it into his own net. Martinelli, sick game. Sick game. I'd probably say that was his best Premier League performance. Because he's been shocking in the Premier League. He's been good in the Champions League. He's been decent in the Cups as well, the hat-trick against Portsmouth. But he's been absolutely abysmal in the Premier League. And that was definitely his best performance. Jesus, I'll give a 7. I mean, didn't really do much. Took his goal brilliantly. That was a very, very good goal. That was the best goal that we scored in the game. You know, Odegaard gives him the ball, does so well to turn, get past the defender and just slap it into that bottom corner. Yeah, very, very good from him. And then Arteta, I'll give him an 8. You know, I thought the starting 11, I had a couple of problems, I'll be real. I wasn't sure about Nkapie at left back, but Calafiori, you know, had his injury, and then Gyökeres up front, again, wasn't too sure, but it worked. We won 4-0 away from home. We didn't concede any chances. I'm happy. I was very harsh in my match reaction, as I said, on TikTok for some reason. I think it was a frustrating game to watch. But then you think about what the result and the performance and what it means, and you just think, you know what? Good on you, Arsenal. You actually did your job. I'm praying to every god that Tottenham can get something for me, because could you imagine if Tottenham win, which they won't, but could you imagine if after all that noise about how Arsenal are choking, that they're bottling it, that Man City go and lose to Tottenham, and in the last 4 game weeks we've actually gained on them? Like, could you actually imagine? Yeah, it would actually be crazy. The last 4 game weeks where Arsenal have been abysmal, we gain points on City if they lose to Spurs. I think if they draw, it'll be level, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on, I need to make sure. So City have 2 draws. So we've got 2 draws, a loss and a win. City will have a draw, 2 losses and a win, or 2 draws. Yeah, no, yeah. So it'll be level if they draw. We'll have picked up more points if they lose, and then they would have gained on us by 2 points if they win. Which, I mean, cool. But yeah, man, that sums it up. That's it really. That's all I have to say. Sorry I didn't get the predictions video in. I know I said I was gonna be consistent, but I'll definitely do it for the League Cup semi-final, second leg. I'll make a video previewing both of those games because I will watch them both, especially our game. And I will talk about the Man City-Tottenham game no matter what the result is, because that is a big, big game. Spurs, they've got like 100 injuries. But I've seen worse Spurs teams, like worse 11s. I've seen Emerson Royale at centre-back. I've seen fucking dead players like Oliver Skipp playing. Like, I've seen worse Tottenham teams beat Manchester City or draw with Manchester City. So come on, please. The last time I'm going to go like a root for you this season. Please. But yeah, that'll do it. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, hype, share, do everything. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.